a scenario where Egypt and Ethiopia goes to war. I hope you enjoy, and this is Mad Mapper. Egypt declares war on Ethiopia after and starts bombing the country. Troops in Sudan declare war on Ethiopia. They cross into Ethiopia. An ally of Ethiopia, South Sudan, who hates Sudan, declares war. But so unstable, it really doesn't help them nor hinder them. And they push in to both countries, which goes really successful. Due to the terrain, they're having trouble pushing into Ethiopia. Just due to the terrain, they're having trouble. And then Eritrea and Somalia join. This leads to Somalia declaring independence, Ethiopia and South Sudan recognizing it, along with Turkey, an Ethiopian ally. And they start pushing in. Ethiopia gets more drones from Turkey. And almost all of the Tigray region has been liberated. A push into Somalia is made, which goes very successful because Somalia is very poor and in civil war. They quickly push in, blitzkrieging in and taking over the country. So at this point, they start more of a defensive line. It's easier in their country. But they're kind of losing a lot of the Nile. I think the Nile goes down to there. Ethiopian troops start pushing them back because they were pushing in. On this front, they push them back. And back here. It's at this point Israel decides they'll go to war with Egypt, which triggers Palestine. Which leads to Syria joining to push the Israelis out of their territory. Which I think is about there. This leads to Turkey joining the war. Who at this time controls these lands. Syria, which is falling apart. Israel smartly moves its troops quickly into Palestine. Sets up a defensive with Syria, pushes into Egypt. And it's a successful push. Which they make it almost to the Suez Canal, splitting the Sinai Peninsula in two. And they push up next to the Suez Canal. This is when Egyptian troops get ready and push the Israeli troops back. Securing the Suez Canal. But disallowing Israeli to advance. Any Israeli allies are banned from using the Suez Canal, which in this case severely impacts the inflation. Israeli defensive troops start pushing up because Turkish troops are nearing them. I don't think Turkey and Israel have good relations, but they probably have some kind of relations. This might be unrealistic, but Turkey is an ally of Ethiopia. Israel would help Ethiopia because they don't like Egypt. Sudan. Well, let's see what happened down here. South Sudan falls. Pushback in the Tigray region happens. And push down. The fronts get dangerous. Many people are dying in Egyptian strikes. Countries are upset over access to the sea going away. Syria is, well, collapsing. Not sure whose side Saudi Arabia would pick. They don't like Egypt. I'm going to say they send aid to Egypt. Ethiopian forces are completely pushed out of South Sudan. Ethiopians are told to slow the advance in any means necessary. With them starting to encircle Addis Ababa. What mass conscription is forced. They connect here. And push here. They push up here, encircling troops. With a retreat of Sudanese and Egyptian troops away from the city. This was a major setback. And they start pushing into this part of South Sudan. And this is where Ethiopian morale starts rising. Ethiopia starts getting support of a lot of nations after saying they will open the strike back up. I don't know which side Iran would want to. I don't know which one India would want. But I do know what France would probably aid. France decides to, and Britain decides to send their support and backing behind Israel to get the strait back opened. Which, when the British volunteers arrive French volunteers, Azeri volunteers, NATO volunteers, American volunteers. They push back. They make a landing here on this side of the Suez Canal, and the Battle of Suez starts. But if the city is taken, it will be a major victory. If they fail to take the city, well, it would be bad. They take the city. They cross the Suez Canal and reopen the Suez Canal to everyone's use, which Egypt then has to pull troops back from the Ethiopian border. Ethiopia starts a major pushback. You'd think Ethiopia... But what do you think? Who do you think would ally either side? I couldn't really find a definitive answer of who would side with who. I'm thinking Saudi Arabia with Egypt, because Saudi Arabia and Egypt have positive relations. Ethiopian forces push up here and here. I push here. Along with here. I've been keeping my sleeping to get some and why. They cross into Sudan. But it's not really a priority for them to cross into Sudan. They push the troops in the encirclement back from South Sudan, eventually having them surrender, which leads to these lands being occupied. When a pincher attack starts here, they get worried and pull most of the troops back. But they should have took all, because it was a successful pincher attack. And they push down. And in the side and up. Eventually having a small encirclement. They refuse to surrender. After some more UN support, Israel and Turkey start a push to take Cairo. They allow civilians to flee if they want. But if they don't want to flee, well, this is a very bloody battle. The bloodiest of the war, the Battle of Cairo. It's so bloody that, well, people die. Obviously people die, but they push in, marching through the city, with Egyptian forces far south. Well, Egyptian forces pull out. Half of the Egyptian forces in South Sudan go to defend Egypt, which is about 45% of their army, which stalls out Israel, but allows Ethiopia to make a big advance into South Sudan, resetting up the nation. So these forces then surrender. Egypt starts major bombing campaigns and push towards the city of Cairo. But this fails as the troops stop it. Egypt angered by this. Egypt is then sanctioned by the US. The West puts sanctions on Egypt for starting this war. Which I don't know what that would do, besides cripple your economy. Well, don't declare war on them. In Ethiopia, don't you either. It's not guaranteed you'll win. It's all guaranteed that ever I will die. And nobody go to war. They started to push down this, what's it called, Nile River. More troops pull out. Sudanese forces start a pincher attack here, which goes to success. The Eritrea, which is really, well, not a strong country, they managed to push up to their border and cross. Poor Eritrea. Eritrean forces are forced to withdraw, which thus allows where Eritrea was occupying to be pushed back, which leads to a humongous pincher attack, which goes to success. While allowing themselves to push down into Eritrea, taking more sea away from Ethiopia, a nation that has no sea access except right now. Sudanese forces pull back, and more Egyptian forces start pulling back. Paratroopers land here. Why do they land here? Sudan, to defend its home soil from this Israeli paratroopers and Turkish paratroopers, moved troops from South Sudan to here. Which is exactly what the point of this was. So that they could push up. South Sudan could. This was just a distraction. I'm pushing that Sudan has started. Ethiopia liberating all of its lands. Everybody's mad about this. A lot of nations are mad. Especially how Egypt used to have good relations with the West. Lost because of war. Isn't that what happened to Turkey? I think it did. Once they invaded the other nations in 2008 and 2016, well, the West got mad. They're still allies. Paratroopers start pushing back. After losing the Suez Crisis years ago, guess what? They pushed down the Nile. Even more. And these Egyptian forces surrender. And they rapidly push down the Nile River, which leads to Saudi Arabia having no choice but to stop giving support because, well, why give support when it's just... And instead, they focus their attention to Yemen. Guessing this is about the Blue Nile. What is the longest river in the world? Is it the Nile or the Amazon? Say Amazon, but where does the Nile start? Or the Amazon? Because there's many routes you could pick. And pushing the South Sudan from South Sudan is working out. Sudan, not wanting damage to their capital, Khartoum, agrees to sign peace. Egypt, wanting no more damage, signs peace. Turkey shall annex these lands. Israel shall annex up to the Suez Canal. The Golan Heights shall be annexed. I think that's the Golan Heights. It may be on this map. I'll write into it. And Turkey annexes these lands from Syria, setting up a puppet in the rest. Israel annexes Palestine, but extends a zone for Islam, just to prevent any more conflicts. Israel and Egypt are signed this peace treaty. That's its puppet of Turkey. That's Israel now. This is only one scenario in which it could play out. You're trying to play it cool, you're not. You know you're better than that. You know you're dicey like that. You know you're splicey. Sudan shall pay war reparations. Large numbers. Egypt's economy is also destroyed. The Nile gets to be built now. Yay! Well, I mean, the Renaissance Dam, is it called? Well, they've been in cyber warfare for years. Now, cyber warfare and war are two things. Cyber attacks are actually common, which is scary. The rest of Eritrea is put under pro-Egyptian government. Somalia, for some reason, well, is gotten rid of. But Somalia is made an official autonomous region within it. France and Britain NATO shall take sanctions off Egypt if Egypt does not do any aggressive military actions for the next 10 years. Same with South Sudan. And this is the end of the war. Look at the new map. Wait, did I erase it? No. Look, it's gone. And that is there. Well, South Sudan looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Comment down in the comments section. Do you like the new borders or are you mad at them? Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe as that would mean a lot. And leave comments on any war scenarios. I will go back to do episode 5 of my alternate futures of the world series, but in a while. And if there's any ideas you have for a war scenario, please leave it, or an empire, please leave it in the comments section, and I will see if I can do it. And remember, once we get to 20 subscribers, there will be a special. We're at 16 or 500 views, whichever comes first. The end. Thanks for viewing. I hope you have a wonderful day. And Wild Mapper out.